Hello there. This is 5 Minutes with KeRusso. Now, you may be channel surfing across YouTube and just have stumbled on us, and you're wondering, what is 5 Minutes with KeRusso? Well, one of the things I can tell you is just do what the title says. Give us 5 minutes. That's all. Just asking for 5 minutes. Then go on and continue your channel surfing. You might find you want to come back and check this out more, or check out some of the other videos that are on this channel. If somebody's told you about this channel and you've been following us, and I'm glad that you came back and grateful for anybody who's watching this. As you're seeing the relevance of what we're doing, I hope you're sharing this with other people so that they also can be blessed and they can benefit by it. Now, if you've been following the channel, you realize there's different people, different posts that have been made on Fridays, and I've made some on Wednesdays. But what we're doing on Mondays is taking journeys through books of the Bible, trying to understand their relevance and learning how to read this book for ourselves so we can discover what God wants us to know. And right now we're in the middle of Philippians. What I'm doing and what I want to do for a few videos is just kind of hit different parts of this letter, pulling in some of the tools that I've equipped you with so that you can begin to discover even more and begin to ask questions of discovery yourself. And what I want to do is I want to focus on a word that appeared 3 times in this letter. If I got that correct, you might find it a little bit more. But it's the word pure. Now, what's that word pure even mean? Let me give you an example of this. I have in my hand here a little bottle of 100% pure syrup. So what that means is when I pour this on my pancakes or waffles, all I'm getting is syrup. Now, if you're like Buddy the Elf, you might even drink it, but you're still just going to get syrup, okay? Nothing else, no additives, nothing mixed in with it. It's just maple syrup, okay? That's what pure means, not to be contaminated with something else. But what does that mean in this letter of Philippians? Well, where Paul first brings up this word pure, it's in this prayer at the very beginning of the letter that kind of sets the tone for what his message is for those disciples. It's in chapter 1, and I want to read for you starting in verse 9. Paul wrote, "This is my prayer, that your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best and may be pure and blameless for the day of Christ." To be pure and blameless. Okay, that gives you something to think about there. Now, at the end of the letter, in chapter 4, as he kind of starts wrapping things up and he's summarizing his message in this letter, he says this to those disciples in verse 8. "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." All right, so pure is this thread that he's kind of woven into this letter here. Does he give us any insight what it means to be pure in the context of this letter? Well, he does. In chapter 2, he has this to say to those disciples. Verse 14, "Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. Then you will shine among them like stars in the sky." Here Paul gets at what he's talking about when he means pure, when he asks the people, calls them to be pure. He's saying don't get caught up. Don't start living like people in the world. Don't start thinking and acting like them. He said you're living among people who grumble and quarrel and argue all the time. If you're following Jesus, don't get contaminated by that. Stay pure. And you can live among such people and shine like the stars because you're not being contaminated by that attitude of grumbling and arguing. Now, can you see the relevance for us? In this context, can you understand why it's important to be pure? I mean, we live in a time when people argue and quarrel and grumble all the time and about anything. Sometimes it seems to be important. Sometimes we look at it and say, well, it's really not important. But even whatever the world values, those who follow Jesus are called to be pure, not be contaminated by that kind of thinking. Don't become a grumbler and an arguer, okay? Now, that's Paul's letter to those disciples there. You get to determine if it's relevant or not for us. I think it is. But thanks for checking us out. And if you'll come back next Monday, I'll share with you a little bit more from Philippians. You can leave some comments. You can, on this page, you can also send an email at booksbyKeRusso@gmail.com. Enjoy your blessings and be pure.